There's Brian Kilmeade, who is going to explain to you the concept of the fallacy of sunk costs.
Really?
Yes.
Brian Kilmeade's going to explain
Brian
that to me?
Kilmeade is going to explain to you the fallacy of sunk costs.
All right, I'm ready.
In the context of the Afghanistan war.
Here's the other thing that really drove home to the American people who are paying attention. The Russians have every intention of filling the gap when we leave. After 19 years, are you willing to turn our influence in the Afghan government over to the Russians and to the Iranians? Is that going to be the apt reward for 19 years of sacrifice by the American men and women who fought there?
No, listen, we are committed to the people of Afghanistan, and we have been. In fact,
we're leaving.
You point out we've spent 19 years of blood and treasure there, and in the Bush administration, I worked very hard on rule of law in Afghanistan, and we love the people of Afghanistan. What the president's been able to do is develop a peace agreement with the Taliban to keep our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines from being targeted by the Taliban. And we're also encouraging inter-Afghan negotiations, because at the end of the day, we can't be in these places forever. And the Afghan people have to come together. They have to reach a consensus. They have to go on with their lives. And we're facilitating those negotiations.
Did you tell the Russians they have to go on, Robert? Did you tell the Russians they have to go on with their lives?
Well, listen, the Russians left Afghanistan, their military left Afghanistan a long time ago under much different circumstances. But look, they have intelligence in Afghanistan, just like we do, just like many countries have intelligence operators in Afghanistan. It's near them, and they certainly want to look out for their own interests. We're certainly going to do everything we can to counter the Russians. We're going to counter the Iranians, and we've shown that more than anyone. I mean, we've taken the strongest action against Iran that any administration's ever taken. So we're going to look after our Afghan partners, but at the same time, we're going to bring our American men and women, servicemen and women, home after 19 years of fighting in Afghanistan for sure.
I mean,
He's so upset. I mean, the idea that you're sitting in that studio and and that somebody whose leg has been blown off, who's coming home to a pandemic depression, is like, no. Don't take me home to my family in urgent medical care, or don't just get me out of Afghanistan. The Russians might increase their interest here.
Well, listen, it's not inconceivable to me that men and women who served over there are coming home going like, wait, what was that for? Why was I there? Why was I there in 2010? Why was I there in 2015? Why was I there in 2008? Why was I there? Of course. I have no doubt that many of those people are like, are you telling me that I saw my friend get killed, or I lost my leg, or this and that, and that's it? We're just, and I don't blame them for feeling that.
Well, I think those questions go towards the policy, not towards what about the Russians?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the point isn't the point is that we went in there. When we went in there, we were told we are not going to make the same mistake. We are not going to leave this country in ruins. We're going to go in. We were sold this whole bill of goods about how we were going to build up Afghan civil society, and we were going to create infrastructure and blah, 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 blah. That's the way that we entered in there. And it was all a lie. It was a lie from the beginning. Everybody sort of knew it was a lie. They were going just to go and get the Taliban because they had protected bin Laden. They let bin Laden get away because they basically put all their resources into Iraq as soon as they possibly could. Literally took military personnel who were on the heels of bin Laden and moved them to Iraq. And the bottom line is we should have gotten out 15 years ago so that we wouldn't have expended that stuff. And, we're leaving the country in worse shape than we found it, essentially the exact same thing. And we left it decimated. And, we were told we're not going to do the same thing that we did, when we funded the madrasas to go fight in the Mujahideen, to go fight the Russians. We're not going to leave it a disaster area. That's just going to be, and we are, because there's no will whatsoever to actually go in there and do any type of like genuine. I don't even know if it's possible at this point.
It's not. I mean, you got to read. I mean, I'll just plug Steve Call's 2 books on this: Ghost Wars, which covers 79 to 2001, and Directorate S, which covers 2001 to 2016. I mean, it's not. Not only is it not possible. I mean, these things are also, in your favorite phrase, they're self-licking ice cream cones. The relationship between the Pakistanis and the U.S., the dynamic from the very beginning, completely separate. You want to talk about specific, highly targeted intelligence and potentially military operations around a ultra specific set of people that may have been there and left very early, namely Al Qaeda and Bin Laden. Yes, absolutely. But we went in there right out of the gate. The torture program started, the complete destabilization, enormous civilian casualties, people settling old scores by passing fake intelligence on other people so that innocent people could show up at a military base to have a conversation, wind up in Guantanamo. The whole infrastructure was there from the very beginning. And I think also part of it, it was that was the opportunity that people like Dick Cheney wanted to not only invade multiple countries, but to explicitly reject. It's not like U.S. administrations respected international law in any way before, but they wanted to explicitly say, we're not even going to pretend to do that.
Right.
We are going to rip up this infrastructure. And I mean, yeah. And by this point, too, when we're even talking about the Taliban, what are we even talking about? I mean, honestly, a lot of these groups, there's nothing like, not supportive of them, obviously. They're not noble, whatever. But the basic sentiment, get the hell out of my country, is correct.
Nice beard, as you say. You're not supporting the Taliban. Calling from a 970 area code.